So to give a quick intro about Vembu Technologies, it's a private company founded in the year 2004. We are profitable since 2006. We are headquartered in Chennai, India. We do have 4,000 plus channel partners, and we reached more than 60,000 businesses so far. 70% of our customers are from North America, 20% from Europe, and the rest 10% from Asia Pacific regions. And for considering the data center IT administrator, the challenges they face in managing their data center day to day, we have done a thorough study, and we have summarized what kind of challenges they encounter while managing the data center day to day. And the idea behind Vembu BDR suite is to come up with a one-stop solution which meets and facilitates the IT administrators to meet their all the challenges they encounter in backing up and managing their data center. So those challenges here are how fast I can recover the data center during the disaster, and how can I avoid the data loss during a disaster recovery, how much one can rely on his own backups with the software, and how one can control the exponential data growth in the storage while performing the backups, and also how can we modify the resources of the virtual machines without disturbing the actual production environment. And also nowadays we do need a lot of migrations between physical to virtual, virtual to physical, and even between hybrid virtual environments like between Hyper-V and VMware and vice versa. So to understand this, we need a quick understanding of what is an RPO and RTO. RTO, the recovery time objective, is nothing but how much time duration to recover a backed up mission after the disaster. And RPO, recovery point objective, is up to which point we can recover the data after the disaster. Maybe like up to which point we can recover a virtual or a physical machine after a disaster. And we are glad to announce that we have some intelligent mechanism where we can perform an instant recovery of physical or virtual machines in less than 60 seconds. You can even spin up a virtual machine instantly on a backup service hypervisor, and you can even perform a granular file level recovery or an even application level recovery for applications like Exchange, SQL, SharePoint, Active Directory. And let's discuss in detail about the RPO, recovery point objective. So Vembu VM Backup offers a continuous data production of your data center where we have automated backup and replication mechanism. You can even run the backups with a frequency of 15 minutes once. So by this way, you can assure that you can have an RPO of less than 15 minutes. You can perform an image level backup of the virtual machines and the physical servers, and by this way you can ensure that at any point if you perform a disaster recovery, you will not be losing the data, you will be losing only the last 15 minutes changes happened on the machine. And the reliability is a very big question and a very big challenge in data center management. So even after performing the backup, how can we ensure that the backups we have taken are consistent? So while performing a disaster recovery, we will be able to recover the machine consistently without any data loss. So to address this, we have an automated backup verification mechanism. So post the backup in a daily basis, Vembu VM Backup for Vembu BDR will automatically run a check, and it will boot the physical or the virtual machines, and it will capture the screenshot of the boot screen. And those screenshots will be mailed to the IT administrator. So just by taking a look at the email which has the boot screens, you can ensure that all the backed up machines are consistent, bootable, and they are good to go with it. So how do we achieve this an RPO and RTO of less than 15 minutes? How can we ensure that the backups we do with Vembu BDR suite is completely reliable? Here comes the reason. We have our own patented file system called Vembu Hive file system. So we can simply call it as a file system of file systems, which has an inbuilt version control, inbuilt compression, deduplication, encryption, as well as error control mechanism, error correction mechanism. So with Vembu Hive, we can achieve instant recovery of the physical and virtual machine in a time span of minutes without performing a manual restore of hours. And virtual lab. So the concept of virtual lab is really mandatory in each and every technical environment. So while managing production environments for performing actions like say like an OS upgrade, say like performing an update on a new important on a production software, it is really mandatory that we need to simulate or we need to perform a test of that update. So it's really not recommended to play directly with live environments. So here comes the need of a virtual lab. So with Vembu BDR Suite, you can create your own virtual lab by spinning up the virtual machines on the backup service management console using the backup service management console. So whatever it may be, a OS upgrade, reinstallation, software update, you can even do it with the virtual machines running on from the server end. And we have a feature called the persistent boot, or you can even capture the persistent copy. Say like if you want to keep track of the changes you made on the virtual machine, you can very well retain those changes by performing a persistent copy or by taking a persistent copy or persistent boot. And the migration. Nowadays, the migration between the physical to virtual environment or between hybrid virtual environments like VMware to Hyper-V and vice versa has become much costlier. So the idea behind Vembu BDR Suite is to provide a cost-effective solution that facilitates the users to perform a P2V, V2V, or V2P migration at an affordable cost, as well as with low downtime or with less resources. So with Vembu BDR Suite, it has a plan called Instant Virtual Mount, where it creates a virtual drive inside the server which has the backed up machine in the form of VMDK, VHD, and RAW file. So depending upon the environment, you can directly go and pick that file and put it on the required environment and perform the P2V or V2V migration. And the best part is all this can be achieved with very less downtime and in minutes time frame. And let's take a quick product overview of BDR Suite. Basically, BDR Suite is a collection of 4 components which has Vembu's VM backup, Vembu image backup, network backup, and online backup. Vembu VM backup is actually meant for virtual environments like VMware and Hyper-V, whereas image backup is meant for backing up the physical servers. And for legacy method backups for performing a file-based file folder level backup, and for backing up applications like Exchange, SQL, SharePoint, and Active Directory, you can use Vembu network backup. And for the users who would like to back up the data directly to cloud, you can use Vembu online backup. So we have our own cloud running on Amazon environment. So if you don't want to spend on a hardware, you can use Vembu online backup, so which kicks away the use or the need of a backup server, where you can simply start installing an agent and directly start backing up to our cloud. And let's take a detailed look on the VMware image backup. So Vembu VM backup is a proxy, or we can even call it as an agent component, which has to be installed in any one of the virtual machines on those environment. So you can simply map the ESXi server at vCenter with Vembu VM backup. So what it does is like it reads the information of all the virtual machines running inside the environment, and it will, during the backup, it will process the data. So it will encrypt the data on the fly. So while sending the data through network, we can ensure that the data is encrypted and at no point raw data is sent across the network. So by this method, we ensure that all the data over the network are encrypted and only the cipher data will be sent through the medium. So we can moreover call it as an agentless backup, because it is really not mandatory that you need to install this VM backup proxy or the agent inside the vCenter server. It could be any one of the VMs or any one of the machines within the network. So here the architecture diagram, where the VMware environment is mapped with the Vembu VM backup agent. It will process the data and send it to the Vembu BDR server, where it will have the storage repositories connected to it. So the data will be again encrypted deduped and compressed and stored into the storage repository with our own patented file system called Vembu Hyper-V. And ensuring high availability on VMware environment is really important today. So Vembu VM Backup has the ability to replicate the VMs from one VMware environment to a target VMware environment instantly. So you don't even need to communicate with the BDR server for performing this action. So you can simply map the virtual environments or the ESXi servers to Vembu VM Backup. So what it does is like it will read the VM to be replicated from the source, and it will directly replicate the VMs to the target VMware environment or the ESXi host. So what happens is like it facilitates you to perform an instant failover or fail backup in case of a disaster. And Hyper-V environments. So in speaking about Hyper-V environments, the same agent can act to perform the Hyper-V backups. So all you need to do is like you need to install the proxy inside the Hyper-V host machine or the Hyper-V server. So once it is installed, it will automatically read and pop up all the Hyper-V virtual machines running inside the environment. You can directly go ahead and pick the virtual machines needs to be backed up, and you can directly start running the backup. The same mechanism applies here. It will the proxy will actually compresses, encrypts, and it will send the processed data to the BDR server, which will be again processed and stored inside the storage repository. And the physical Windows Server backup or image backups. So you can use this proxy to back up a physical server machine in a single shot. So this agent should be installed on the machine or the server to be backed up. So what happens is like it will use the Microsoft BSS services. So it will take a snapshot of the complete disk available on the machine, and it will be processed in the same way what it has done on the VMware and Hyper-V environment, and the data will be sent across to the BDR server and stored in the storage repository. So this VM backup agent has intelligent mechanism where it has its own drivers to track the changes happening in the disk. So what happens is like on the very first backup, it will inject the driver simultaneously and perform the complete backup of the disk to the server. And on the upcoming schedules or the consecutive schedules will not be scanning the complete disk, where we have our own intelligent mechanism to track the changes or the block, track the block where the changes are happening, and only those block information will be sent on the incremental schedules. We call it as an incremental schedule, which is not time consuming, where less resources are spent, and only the changes will be sent across the network to the BDR server. And in performing a complete VMware backup or a Hyper-V backup or an image backup, how can I ensure that the applications like Exchange Server, SQL Server, SharePoint running inside those machines are consistent? So to ensure this, we have an intelligent mechanism called application aware, so which creates a consistent database snapshot by querying the applications using Microsoft VSS. So while performing the backup, it will go and check the stability of the VSS writers running inside those machines. Say for an example, if one of the VSS writers is unstable or corrupt, it will stop the backup and it will wait for the stability of the machines to be restored in order to perform the backup. So by this mechanism, you can ensure that the backed up machine will have all the applications running inside are consistent, and when you want to perform an application or granular level recovery, it is doable without any data loss. And also we have an automated mechanism to truncate the logs of applications based upon the backup configuration based upon the IO convenience. And the incremental, speaking about the incremental, how is it possible to perform or to track only the changed blocks inside a physical or virtual machines? So for that, we have come up with our own driver or with our own technology called CBD, where while performing the very first backup itself, we will inject our CBT drivers inside the physical or virtual machines. So what happens is like those drivers will keep track of the blocks where the changes are happening. So during the incremental schedule, only the blocks which encounter the change will be backed up to the server. So using our own drivers, we'll be tracking the changes and we'll be performing an intelligent incremental backup. And how is it possible to perform a virtual to provide a virtual lab using Vembu BDR suite? Here is the answer. We have the feature called Instant Virtual Machine Boot. So any machine that could be a Hyper-V, VMware, or a physical server which is backed up to the server, you have an option to perform instant boot. What happens is, like, in minutes, within a couple of minutes, it will go and spin a virtual machine in the hypervisor available on the server machine. So the virtual machine will be up and running immediately, so you can directly do some play around on the virtual machines by accessing it. And if you want to perform some granular file level restore on the backed up physical or a virtual machine, it is really not mandatory that you need to perform a restore of the complete VM or the complete physical image backup. So you have an option to mount the backup. So what happens is, like, the backup disk will be mounted just like a local disk in the server machine, where you can directly go and navigate to the files and folders available on the machine. So we have a concept called virtual drive, where the backup data will be virtually created as VMDK VST files inside those drives. And speaking about the application level recovery, we have developed our own universal file explorer called Vembu's Universal Explorer. So on the virtual drive, as I said earlier, the backed up data will be like VSD or VMDK, and raw data files will be there. So you can simply mount the VSD file into that Universal Explorer. So what happens is, like, it will facilitates you to perform a mail level restore if it is Exchange, or a database level restore if it is a SQL. So simultaneously you can do it for the SharePoint and Active Directory or user role level recovery with Universal Explorer. And for performing a bare metal recovery, we have our own mechanism to create a recovery CD. So just by using the VHD file, if you put it on our recovery CD utility, you will be creating a bootable disk. So you can use those bootable disk or the recovery CD to perform a bare metal recovery on a physical machine or a physical hardware. And we come to the heart of this session, where we're going to see about what's new in Vembu VM Backup, Vembu BDR Suite version 3.5. So for this, I would like to invite Nagarajan, the solution architect of
Okay, thanks for the brief introduction, Manoj, and good morning everyone. I would like to inform you that we are going to release Vembu BDR version 3.5 with a lot of new features where it will be more exciting for you. Let me one second, let me move the screen. I would like to just give highlights about the features what we are going to do in Vembu BDR version 3.5. We consider this as a major release where we are going to completely revamp the user experience for you. Because I hope some of you may evaluate the product, or you may using the product, say where we have a two-tier architecture, where the client agent, the proxy has to be installed in the agents, the machines which has to be backed up. It may be a VMware or a Hyper-V or a physical Windows server, and you have to set up a backup server, and the backup data will be collected by the agent or a proxy, and it will be sent to the backup server. So it's again, you have to log into the two different agents to manage the environment. But we are going to provide you a single simple user interface, and it has to be, you can manage your VMware and Hyper-V backups from the backup server console itself. Okay, all you need to do is, you have to, after installing the backup server, you have to just log into the backup server, and you can just add the ESXi host or Hyper-V host information. Rest of things will be taken care by the backup server. Okay, so it's going to be the single point of contact user interface where you can manage all your virtual machine backups from one place. And the VMware Failover and Failback, I would like to just give a brief about the Failover and Failback. even though now we are supporting the failover failback, it's not completely automated. It's not completely support every feature which is available for it. And along with the VMware failover and failback, we are going to introduce IP and network remap during the VM replication for the VMware environment. Along with, we are going to support Windows SMB share for Hyper-V backups, where you have a environment where the Windows SMB share to store the Hyper-V virtual machine data. So from version 3.5 onwards, you can just simply back up the VM data which is stored on SMB share. And this is most important thing. We are going to launch 2 new products by part of version 3.5, where we are going to introduce a product called the Vembu SaaS Backup to back up your Google apps and the Office 365. And Vembu BDR360, it's again a product which will be you can use to manage all your backup servers centralized from a centralized console. I would like to brief about the features one by one. So when we talk about the failover and the failback, there are a lot of options you need to run the business continuity. I mean, without any interruption. Okay. So when you replicate a VM from one ESXi host to another ESXi host, you can set up the IP and the network options. Where in case if you would like to use the same IP and the network in case of the production VM goes down, the VM which you are going to fail over on the target ESXi host, it will by default use the same IP and the same network, and it will be automatically booted when your source production machine is out of service. So with minimal downtime, with say you may say it's 1 or 2 minutes once the target VM is identified, the source VM is not running and it's not reachable, it will be instantly booted and the same IP and network will be assigned to the booted machine. Also, in case if you would like to use a different IP address in the network for the target machine, yes, you can set up during the replication process. All you need to do is you have to make sure whether the replication, the replicated VM occurs a different IP. You have to just enter the different IP and the different VLAN settings. And while putting the failover the machine, it will automatically identify the configured IP and network, and it will just assign them for the failover machine. And in case if you would like to terminate the failover, and you have the option called temporary failover, where you can just terminate the failover, and whatever changes you have, it will be terminated. In case if you would like to permanently use it as a production environment, in the production environment, you can use a permanent failover. Also, you have option to undo the failover, and in case if you would like to fail back the VM back to production ESXi host, yes, you have options where you need to make sure you have an option called commit failover or commit failback, where you have to switch the machine to the same the ESXi host or the different ESXi host. So in case if you would like to undo failover, yes, you have the option. Say if you are undoing the failback, all it will do is it will just undo all the changes it done after doing the failover process. So the replication will be continued further. Okay, it's all about the enhancements with the VMware and Hyper-V. As I said earlier, for Hyper-V, we are going to support the Windows SMB share for Windows SMB share backup. Say where all you need to do is, it will be taken care by the VM backup as well. The VM backup agent will install a utility on the SMB share, and it will actually track the changed blocks. So during the incremental, it will only track the changed blocks from the SMB share. And the most important thing is that we are really happy to announce that we are extending our backup service to the SaaS applications as well. As I said, we are always saying that we are the only one backup software company who caters the need of all businesses. Say you may need image backups for VMware and Hyper-V or physical machines, or you may need legacy backups like a file level and application level backups, and you may need an on-premises backup or offsite backup or cloud backup. Yes, we do provide a service for all those requirements. And now we are extending it to the SaaS applications, where you can back up the Microsoft Office 365 and Google Apps users, And while backing up the accounts, we actually back up the emails, calendar, and contacts and documents. And you have option to just search from Vembu customer portal. All you need to do is just you can just search it in case if you need any particular document or email, you can just restore them to the same user or different user. Okay, also in case you have two options to back up these applications, whether you would like to directly back up to our cloud. As we said earlier, we are running our servers on Amazon Web Services across all continents, or else in case if you would like to keep the data in your data center, yes, you can have an option to keep them by part of it will be again released as part of Vembu BDR suite. It will be a centralized server, and from Vembu SaaS backup agent, you can just back up all those SaaS applications and just store the data in your location. And one thing I would like to discuss with you is why you need to back up the Office 365 or Google App User accounts, because it's all set up in cloud, and Google and Microsoft have extensive security policies, and they have they promise you that you are never going to lose any data because it is stored in cloud, and they have backup policies and everything, security and everything they are doing. They do they have a best plan to safeguard your data in the cloud. But consider a scenario where in case if your employees deleted mail or data, and it will be kept in trash for 30 days. After that, it will be permanently removed from the Google account itself. So after 6 months or a couple of months, in case if you would like to, it may be a record for you. Also, in case consider this, that if any one of your employees leaves your company and you would like to just after a couple of weeks, you may delete his entire account. Okay, in case if you would like to archive their accounts with paying very less minimal cost, you can use the service. SaaS backup is not only meant to these scenarios; it's a lot more than this, because you can just keep the data up to 10 years or 20 years, because the policies, you cannot just keep all your mails in Google account. Say if you just the default options you get, the storage will be minimal for you. Over a period, you have to pay more and more to avail the storages, where you can just keep this as an archive option, and where you can just back up all your data to your data center or to our data center. And a lot more will be, lot more SaaS application will be added in upcoming releases, where we are having plan to add the Salesforce as well as some of a couple of other SaaS applications. And another good news is we are going to release Vembu BDR360. It's a centralized management portal where you can manage all your backup servers from one single point. Okay, where we provide a portal, you can just log into the portal and all your backup servers will be listed. You have a lot of options. It's not only about monitoring and management, it's much more than monitoring and management. And initially we are going to provide this particular software product to monitor and manage the Vembu BDR backup server centrally from one place, where you can just create a group. Say you can have multiple machines, multiple customers backup to your data center, or you may have backup servers deployed in each of your customers' location. And you can just manage all of them from your portal, where you can just group some of the customers, and you can create a policy for them. So group management will be given to you, and a calendar-based backup report, so where it will be a simple report where you can just view the calendar-based report, and in case if the backup job is not successful at any particular point of time, you can just investigate and you can take action based on that. Also, the real-time monitoring, where you the memory and the CPU usage of the backup servers will be displayed in your portal, where you can make sure that your backup server is running fine during the peak hours, or else in case if you are facing some resource related issues, you can easily address them by using the portal itself. And the backup verification reports with screenshots will be even uploaded to this portal, where you can just easily check, make sure all your backups are successful and it's bootable, recoverable during the disaster. And it's just a beginning where we have a lot of plans to add more and more features, where it's not about it's not meant to Vembu BDR backup server. We would like to just expand the availability to your entire data center, where you can monitor all of your Windows physical machines, as well as we are having plan to include where you can just add your ESXi and vSphere host, and you have a complete extensive monitoring capabilities for all your data center. And we would like to extend this to cloud as well, where it will be one spot, a centralized portal where you can manage your entire data center from one single point. So the roadmap we are having is huge, and we are expecting it to be released as soon as possible. And by next week you will get a beta for these two products, and I would like everyone to hands on with the product and give you a feedback to improve this better. And that's it from my side. In case if you have any queries, and we can just talk about more. And due to we are running out of time, we will reply the queries through mail, and we have noted down all the questions, and our support team will respond to each one of you with the answers.
Thank you, Nagarajan. Also, I would like to inform that the session is recorded, so if any one of you would like to have the recorded copy, feel free to mail us at vembu-support@vembu.com, and we are happy to send the recorded copy of the demo. And once again, thank you all for joining the session.